Welcome to the Krista Escamilla Show.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of the Krista Escamilla Show. I'm so glad that you're here spending some time with you. And welcome to our new studio. I know it may not look completely different from our old studio to you, but boy, does it here from my look and from my vantage here. So hopefully you are doing well wherever your life is taking you right now, and you're just in a good place, and you're ready to learn from our guest today, because I know I am. We're so excited to introduce to you Dr. Andre Furtado. And Dr. Furtado is the co-owner of Cultivate Wellness and Sports Rehab. He's also a physical therapist. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
I'm so excited to share your story because you have a lot of years experience in this field, and it's something that especially this week I'm really interested in. We can talk more about that later.
Exactly.
But first of all, tell us a little bit about how you got into physical therapy and what you love about it.
It was funny. I've always been a what you would call like a gym rat. When I was 17 years old, I started working in a gym here in Midland, and I just thought that was the coolest job ever, right? And so I've always liked the body and whatnot. But at the same time, once I graduated high school, I was starting at Midland College, and for some reason I thought, I wanted to do business. I thought I wanted to be an accountant. Glad I didn't do that. That was not for me. But
God always has a better plan than what we have for ourselves, right?
So I was going through business classes and all this, but you had to take one science class, right? And most of the time, business people usually took like Geology 1 or something, because that was more, I guess, simple, right? And here I am in Anatomy 1, right? Because I was like, I really want to take the body. I think that'd be pretty cool. Let me do that. So I got in there, and everybody, the first day people were talking, they're like, oh, pre-med, nursing, PT, and I'm like, business? They're like, why are you in here? And I'm taking it literally with probably the hardest teacher at the time. And they're like, why are you in here? And I'm like, I just like the body. That's what I like to do. I work in a gym. I just thought it'd be kind of cool.
Right.
And so I was doing that, going through that. And then while I was working at that gym, a lady, I think she worked at ORMC in Odessa. And she probably doesn't know this today, but when she came up to me, she was a young lady, and she was working up there, and she'd come in and she'd go, I think you'd be good at physical therapy. And I go, well, that's interesting. I'd never really looked into it or thought about it.
Yeah.
And, after that, it kind of made me think about it a little bit more, and I was like, okay. And I started looking into it, and I go, yeah, I think this is what I want to do. I can work with the body, I can work with people. And the thing that was so attractive to me about physical therapy is so many different avenues that hospital and rehab centers and outpatient and all that kind of stuff. I felt like, when I was a young age, I was thinking about job security too. I was like, I know I could work anywhere in the country. Right. There was always going to be jobs. So
everybody has a body.
Right. And I was like, people are going to always need that.
Yes.
So then I started veering into that pathway of I started doing prerequisites and then working towards applying into Texas Tech. So
fantastic.
That's kind of went that direction. So it was pretty funny.
I love that. And it also speaks to the importance of the words that we speak to others, because she doesn't realize that saying that one little thing really changed the trajectory of your life.
Yeah, it really did. Yeah, and she doesn't know it to this day, but it was like, I still remember it verbatim that day.
Yeah.
She goes, you should look into physical therapy. I was like, no, I might do that.
Well, good. Well, I'm glad you listened.
Yeah,
and then from
it
that
worked out
point,
pretty good, so.
Then you went and studied and you graduated. Tell us a little bit about that time and what you learned during those formative years.
It's interesting. When you go through school, you look back on it now and you go, at that time, what you didn't know. You know what I mean? Like, I did what I had to do. Exactly. Especially when I got out. I did what I had to do. There was some things that, like, the first summer, just amazing. Like, I was up in Lubbock. So I did the campus in Odessa.
Okay.
So I was able to do the schooling through there, but the first summer, the whole class goes to Lubbock.
Right.
And that's about 60 some odd students. And then there was another campus in Amarillo. So we all start there, and you do cadavers. So you work on bodies for that whole summer. And that was an amazing experience in itself.
I bet it's life-changing.
It really is.
You look at the body different.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Right.
And as a Christian and a follower, I just man, how amazing that God is, how our body's set up. There's no other way that could have been done. So it was really amazing to take part in that. But at the same time, so much pressure, because there's other classes, and that's a big one. If you don't get a decent grade in that, you can fall out of the program.
Right,
so there's a little bit of pressure there. Mm-hmm. Since then, I've been able to go back to that lab when I was in a doctoral program, and be able to go back and enjoy that a little bit more. And it was really neat after practicing a few years and going back and seeing some of the dissection and stuff. I really appreciated it. So, but at that time, when you're going through it, it's a lot of they always say they equate it to drinking water out of a fire hydrant. It's just so fast, so much information, because it's a 3.5 your program.
Right.
And you're just going. So,
Wow.
and then you come out and you think you know, but you don't. You don't, and they give you the basics to go out with and
Right.
and work from there. So
Yeah, because for some reason, an actual person that is standing there telling you their issues and what is hurting is a lot different than a mannequin.
sure, right,
A lot different.
And we read a lot of case studies in school and everything like that. But when you get out there the first time and well, that didn't really look like what they talked about in
Right.
the book. So like, how do we approach that? How do we do that? So there's a learning curve when you come out. For sure.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, then you went into physical therapy, and you're a physical therapist. At some point, you decided that business, right? You said earlier you wanted to be in business. You decided to merge the two. Let's talk a little bit about Cultivate and what you're doing at Cultivate.
Yeah, Cultivate kind of birthed out of this. So I worked at CM Aquatics in Midland. Great place.
Yeah, you saw one of our kids
right,
there.
Great people, great facility. I worked there for 9 years, and I just started getting this, like that entrepreneurial bug. I have a really good friend of mine who's in, he does real estate, and he was taking all this coaching and all this stuff, and I was like, I wonder if anybody does that for PT. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, does anybody help on the entrepreneurial side? Because in schooling, I don't know how it is now, but when we were going through school, they don't really push a lot of like business information to you or how to look for a job when you come out. It's kind of like you finish, now you're expected to go work in a clinic and that's fine. Like, I'm not
right. You have the skills now, but then you're kind of like,
right.
well,
then
now what? How do I open a business?
How do I open a business, or what should I be looking for when I start working?
Yes.
And so a really good friend of mine's going through all this coaching for real estate stuff. And I go, there's got to be somebody who's doing that in the realm of what I want to do. Right. And I always tell this story because it's pretty funny. Facebook gets me. I get caught on everything on Facebook, right? Everything's strolling down, and I'm like,
you're not alone.
Yeah,
you are not alone.
They really know me better than I know myself.
Right.
And so I'm looking one day, and I started, I guess, searching that kind of stuff. So this guy is walking. He lives in Clearwater, Florida, right?
Okay.
And he's walking on the beach, and he's kind of starting his venture too. Apparently, the guy has had multiple clinics by himself, and then he wants to start helping people do their own. Right. And he's walking down the beach, and he's got he's doing his old social media thing, and he's walking. he goes, "Are you tired of working like 8 to 5? Are you tired of working for somebody else? Are you tired?" And I'm like, yeah. Like the whole time, I'm like, yeah.
Like he is speaking to me.
You're talking to me. And then he's like, "Well, you need to come to Clearwater. I'm having a conference and all this stuff." And I was like, "Huh, interesting." So I call him up. Guy answers the phone, talks to me for a little bit. Felt like he was pretty genuine.
Right.
Told him where I lived, and he was really curious about what I wanted to do, because I told some people I was going to call him and that guy's going to just tell you a bunch of stuff.
Going to take your money.
Yeah, he's going to.
Right.
He was really inquisitive about what I wanted to do and what I was trying to do. And I said, this guy's pretty genuine. So I went to that conference and started doing a few things with him through some coaching groups for a couple years, and that really kind of helped me step off that ledge, so to speak, into the entrepreneurial realm.
Right, where you're on the fence. Right.
Yeah, because I was, and just having that confidence and meeting other people from other parts of the country that were doing the same thing. And I was
love that.
All these people are doing it. That's great. Because sometimes, we live here in Midland, and it's just, there was nobody here who was telling me that. Oh, you do what you normally do, go work at a clinic and all that, which is fine.
Right.
But nobody's like, oh yeah, you need to go on your own, dude. That's great, But getting around other people that were doing that, I was like, oh yeah. And then kind of finally starting the belief system that I could do that as well.
Right. No, that's important, because I think it's so, it's kind of like parenting. You know how you can tell your kids something over and over, but someone else tells you, and and they give you that little boost of confidence. Right. You kind of feel that extra little boost to go, yeah, I can do this. And obviously you have, which is awesome. I think that owning your own business, there are definitely pros and cons, and I'll ask you that in a minute. Sure. But I always say I'm an entrepreneur by marriage, right? Because my husband is an entrepreneur, but there's so many beautiful aspects to it, and you're building something for you and for your family. And I think that is something that I think if it is in your heart, it's not for everyone, right? But if it is in your heart and you feel that nudge, you should do it. What are the pros and cons that you've seen to opening your own business?
The pros probably would be the easiest things to talk about, but in the sense of obviously doing all that work and knowing that it's for me, right? In that sense, being able to do and treat, especially in what we're doing, physical therapy, being able to treat the way that we want to, not under somebody who's saying you got to see so many people a day or whatever. I mean, we stay busy, but this ability to treat in the manner that we want to, I think that was a large portion of that. And just having that, I'd say flexibility, because I mean, I work hard. We're busy. We're blessed. That's amazing. But like, if I want to take a Friday afternoon off to take my kids somewhere or something, like, I'm not going down the chain of command to go, hey, can I get, this afternoon off, and asking like somebody who doesn't even work in the department if I can do that. I'm just like, all that stuff seems so far now. Like, I'm like, I couldn't even do that now.
Right.
You know what I mean? To go,
no,
okay,
100%.
Look at it and go, oh, can I get 2 hours to go watch my kids do a play at school? No, it's not, so I'm glad those are the pros. I mean, cons.
And it doesn't even have to be cons. It could be more struggles.
Just
because I think
struggles,
I think it's important to talk about the struggles so you know what you're getting into if you decide to open your own business.
I think struggles, I mean, there's always, that's kind of a hard one. I think I've been so like engulfed with the pros and how good it's been.
That's good.
But I think at the beginning, it's always like getting everything setting up, finding things that you go, oh, I've never dealt with that, so now I have to do that. The business side of it always has it, kind of rears its head and go, okay, well, I never had to deal with those taxes. I've never had to deal with this building stuff. Are we good with the state when it comes to treating people for physical therapy? Like, are we cleared? Just the
logistics.
Logistics of it does kind of, at the beginning, take it on. You know what I mean? So
that's what my husband and I like to say. You hire your weaknesses, because you figure out at that point what it is that you're good at. Right? You're good at treating the client and treating them and making them feel good and back, being able to move the arm the way they want to. So we found in our business that you just really do have to hire your weaknesses, because then it makes your team stronger.
Right,
So,
exactly.
Yeah. Well, awesome. Well, I want to hear more in a minute, but first we do something called Quote of the Day. And I wanted to have you pick out of our quote bowl and just pick one randomly. And go ahead and, what'd you get? Oh, you got the positivity card. I love that.
Okay. So the only person you should try to be better than is who you were yesterday.
Oh, I love that. I love that quote. What does that mean to you?
Man, that's a really good one.
It is a good one. Especially for us competitors out there. You know who you are, right? It's hard because you feel like you have to compete. But really you're just competing against yourself, and you just that's how I feel.
Yeah. And I think this is huge to me, because I have this tendency to really be concerned about what's going on to the right or the left of me, like who's doing what. Like, when I went out of business, I'm like, okay, who's doing what? How many other places are there? There's this. Right. But every time that I've focused, I always say put blinders on. Like, and I've put the blinders on, and I've just focused on what I need to be doing.
Yes.
Do so much, and that goes along with this, because I just concerned about being the better form of me than yesterday.
Yes.
And that's all we can really do in the end, because I do believe it's not like giving up or anything, but like there's always going to be somebody better. There's always somebody smarter.
Right.
Always, right? So we know that, but to take this and go, look, every day I'm just going to do better than I did yesterday, whatever it be, with business, my walk with the Lord, my kids, the way I parent. I mean, that. I mean, like day to day, it's like, man, I really didn't do that great. Let me be better today, than I was yesterday. And when I do that and I focus on that, everything else, and I find myself those days, they rock. Like, they're so much better, because I'm just worried about what I'm doing. Yeah. I'm not worried about what's going on over here, or who's doing what, or how they're doing.
Because that really shouldn't affect what you're doing. Right. And I feel the same way. Like, you should always be just trying to be the best you can be. And that's why it's hard sometimes, especially when you feel like you're being judged, or you're judging yourself, right? Because we tend to do that a lot. And you're like, oh gosh, did I do that right? Did I, what are they doing over there? And you know what? It doesn't matter. You've got to do what is best for you, and for your faith and your values and your beliefs and your goals for your work. So I love that quote. What a good one. I don't even remember who wrote that one. Let's see. Who wrote this one?
Unknown.
Unknown. Yeah. There you go. Way to go, Unknown.
Good one.
Good job. High five, Unknown, whoever you are. Do you have a favorite quote that you live by?
There was a bunch, and actually I have to say, like, I was listening to your podcast. I knew that we were gonna have one, so I've thought of some. I'm a real big into like the motivational speakers, and there's so many different people that I kind of take in, and you can take, like, like get into one so far that you're just like, you got to be careful, I think. But like you take in nuggets and you go, that's pretty good. And I do like some Tony Robbins stuff. I think I've been to one of his conferences. It's pretty cool.
Yes, right? I bet.
And one of the ones that, especially like going into the business realm, one of the ones that I really focused on was like focus on where you want to be, not what you fear.
That's good.
And that was huge to me because like if I thought about where I wanted to be with this business, would it be like, treating people the way I want to and all the perks of it, it would definitely drive me in that direction. But then the fear, if you focus on that, then you're like, oh, well, what if this and what if that? What if I don't get people? What if? And then it just derails you. So that one stood out to me a lot during that period of time. Obviously, it can be used for many other things, but I do like that. I feel like what we focus on is where our energy goes. So if I'm worried about what I'm afraid of, then I'm never going to take that step,
I love that. And not to answer a quote with a quote, but there is that quote that is something like 90% of the things that we are scared of happening, they don't even happen. I mean, it's like 90% happen, maybe 10%. I think that's I think it's like 1%, maybe of those things, that we get, caught up in our brains, in our head and go, oh, but this could happen. This can happen. None of it happens. Don't fear it. And I think that is so key in not only business, but in life as well. Sure. Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about in physical therapy, because I think you at Cultivate, you and your partner have over 20 years experience in this field. And it's such a great field because different people come to you at different times in their life. And sometimes they're coming after surgery. Sometimes they're coming because they're just not having the mobility that they had maybe years ago. And so I want to talk a little bit about, just the benefits of physical therapy, whether you've had surgery or not, because like I said, there's so many different benefits. And we were talking about this before. There are some things that you do that can help people in every aspect of their life.
Right.
Yes.
So every time I get an opportunity to talk about physical therapy, especially when I went on my own and how we wanted to portray what PT was, the tendency is we get pigeonholed into this, like, go to PT when you have a surgery, which is, we do that 100%.
Right.
But when we're in school, we're taught that we are the experts in musculoskeletal, the body movement, functionality. And sometimes we don't, I think as physical therapists all the time, own that, so to speak. There's so many realms that we touch on past the surgical portion. You know what I mean? Right. Obviously, that is a huge part, so I'm not kind of taking that down. But the same aspect, we can look at people, how they move, assess movement. Strength is a large component of it, too. And we do a lot of things like what we call modalities, which would be like dry needling, which is similar to acupuncture, cupping, which is some of the stuff that you might have seen. That gets real popular, like when the Olympics come and you got the swimmers and they have little marks on their shoulders. Everybody's like, what is that? And, it's just stuff for soft tissue.
Like, does that hurt? Does that cupping thing hurt? Because it looks painful.
It depends. I can say it depends. Like, some people
My son
really
loves
like that.
it.
Yeah, right, exactly. Like, usually like athletes or something really get in on it. But I think for the most part now, I wouldn't say it does.
Okay.
But good. Just that we can do all those things across the field, and that we want to be those people that if somebody's got any kind of thing in the musculoskeletal realm, that we would be the ones that, general back pain, like you said, decreased mobility, anything like that. And even to the realm of where we help people go, it's like a functionality thing. Like, so somebody, like I said, we got all across the board, like athletes and middle age and people like who want to play golf. And then as people get older, like, man, I just realized I can't get off the floor anymore and I want to play with my grandkids. How do I keep moving? Right. And I always tell them, like, a body in motion stays in motion. I'm sure you've heard something like that, physics, obviously, kind of thing. And that's true. Yeah. And whatever it may be, it doesn't have to be 3 hours in the gym. It's like, hey, let's just get you moving, get you started, get you on some strengthening. And it's never too late to do that. Right. So I think that we get put like in this, like, well, I only go to PT when you have a surgery.
Right.
And that's not the case. We are experts in movement and assessing that kind of stuff and generalized pain and, so.
And helping a 13-year-old that maybe loves to golf and maybe broke part of his shoulder.
That too. Good.
How would I know this?
That's very specific of you.
Very specific of me. Wes, we had a little accident in the family this week, but it's all good because of PT. He's going to be just fine. I want to talk about the number one thing that you see that people could do today to help improve their movement in their body. Do you have that one thing that you're like, oh, you know what? If everybody just did this, it would improve their bodies?
And as simple as it sounds, because you said it, I'd say move.
Move.
Right.
Okay.
I mean, I know but here's
Right.
the deal. Like, I think,
But I
people
think
have
that's
this,
important because they stop
people
moving.
have this belief system that it has to be like, oh, I don't want to do that because then I have to go to the gym for 2 hours or 3 hours. I'm like,
Right.
look, if you don't do anything, like if you sit on the couch or you work all day and you're at a desk, go for a walk. At lunchtime or whatever, you know what I
Right.
mean? It's night, or walk in the morning, walk
Right.
your dogs in the morning. Like, everybody thinks it has to be this life-changing thing.
Right, like 3 hours in the gym
Right,
pumping
and
iron.
I'm real big on
Doesn't
like,
have to
look,
be
it's
that.
small tweaks here and there as we, as you progress, movement to the gym, whatever. I mean, you can go into the gym, but you don't. I think a lot of people go in without a plan, and they're like, I don't know what to do here. Like, I get on the treadmill, I go home, and they don't have any direction
Right.
on how to work that. You know what I mean? So, and a lot of this kind of speaks from while I was in PT school, I was doing personal training. That's always what I kind of did. So that kind of
Yeah.
molded them all together with Cultivate, because some people come in and they're not necessarily doing physical therapy. We're just training and just working on strengthening and stuff too.
Right.
So I think move. I mean, I know it sounds simple, but it's like if you're doing this all day, if you're sitting all day, like try to work in where you walk and you get up or
Yes.
stretch a little bit, that kind of stuff.
And you're never too old to keep your body going, because I think what happens is sometimes, whether maybe there was an injury and then that made you maybe stop that routine of daily walking, or everybody has their reasons why maybe they put the exercise on hold for a little bit. It's never too late to get going again. So if they're going to take baby steps and say, I want to talk specifically to maybe a 60 and older group, and maybe they haven't worked out in many years, what would be that one little piece of exercise that they could do? And maybe if they're scared to go out on the sidewalks, because sidewalks are, there's those cracks and they could trip.
Sure.
But, so what would you say they should do?
If that's the case, then I would say something in the home. And then I'm really big, especially like you said, population 60 and up. And a lot of people wouldn't think this, but like some form of resistance training.
And then what would that look like?
I mean, even as simple at home as taking the soup can and curling it, that kind of
Okay.
thing. I mean, because
That's good.
it's resistance,
Right.
and when we, especially as we age, I mean, a lot of things we're combating when it comes to deterioration of discs and osteoporosis. Wolff's Law states that if we put pressure on a bone,
Right.
like, we can make it stronger. So that's why they really encourage resistance training in those at 60 and up for sure. And you can start anytime. It's
Right.
not like, so a lot of people think, wow, so you'd have them lift weights? I'm like, yeah, to some extent,
Yeah.
in a safe manner. You know what I
Right.
mean? But
A lightweight.
exactly.
Right.
I'm not saying you're going to go in the gym and throw them on a leg press machine, but
Right.
resistance training is important for all
Okay.
ages.
And if you're like me and you love food and the soup can is just going to make you hungry while you're doing it,
Might have to
you
use
could
something else.
you could try something else.
Right.
You could pick up, I'm trying to say, like a phone or something.
Right.
and
Something with
just
some
a little
weight.
something.
Or even like standing up and down from, we do a lot of, like, if somebody comes in, a lot of sit to stand, like body weight stuff, which is kind of what would be like calisthenics.
Okay.
Body weight stuff's real important. There's a lot of people who can lift a lot of weight, but they can't do a pull up. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or something like that. So
Pull-ups are tough. I mean,
They
when I
are.
was
Oh,
young and
they are.
12, I could knock those out easy, but now I'm like, I can't even do one. Okay, let's do our question of the day. This is just a fun question that just kind of challenges you at home. I want you to do the same thing. Think of how you would answer this question. What'd you get? You got the spirited card. Yes.
okay, what daily habit do you do that has made a positive impact on your life?
I love that question for you. I want to hear that because I think our audience wants to hear it too. So yeah, what's the one thing?
Like I said, I was speaking to a lot of the motivational stuff, and I think a lot of people, I mean, I think in the Christian realm and like just motivational speakers as well, the huge thing that I do is every morning it's gratitude. Look in the mirror and go, what am I grateful for today? And that's huge because that just shifts the perspective. Like if it's a busy week or I'm dragging, I'm tired, to look at that and every day to try to come up with 3 to 5 things, like even just in a short period of time, and go, man, what am I grateful for? What do I have gratitude for today? And that really always, I mean, that just shifts the mind so
Absolutely.
much,
I love that. What's the best piece of advice someone ever gave you?
In regards to anything, just
Life
business
could
or
be anything. Could be business, could be life, could be parenting. We'll take it all here at the Krista Escamilla Show.
Right, there you go. I think in general, I think it kind of falls towards business again, just because we're on this entrepreneurial. But I think in a lot of things that I do, it's like sometimes you just have to jump.
Okay.
And that doesn't sound, I mean, because it's, for me, that's so huge because I'm the what if guy. And somebody goes, and it was a lot of time when I was thinking about, I talked to the real estate guy, my friend, and he's real big on all that. And he's like, man, you're just going to have to jump. Like, as I talk to him, I'd be like, hey, man, like, I'm here. But when I get here, I think I'm going to go on my own. He's like, bro, like, you're set up.
Right.
Jump.
Go
do it.
Yeah.
And I think that helps a lot with other things too.
Right.
That, whatever it may be. But it's at a point, I'm all for you got to be prepared. You have plans. I mean, I'm not saying just ditch everything, but at one point you got to go, all right, you're just going to have to do it.
Right.
You have to jump.
All right. We're going to play a round of favorite things. Okay. Ready? Favorite protein shake.
Well, okay, muscle milk.
Muscle milk. Okay.
Yeah, muscle milk.
Okay.
It tastes the best, probably. I like muscle milk. Yeah.
Okay, good. And it has a lot of protein in it, right?
Yeah, it does. It's kind of fatty, but it's good.
Favorite protein bar.
There used to be this bar back in the day when I worked in the gym. I don't eat it anymore, but it was called Detour. It was pretty much a Snickers bar, but like I was like, I don't know if there's much different. And that brand came out, and everybody thought they were eating healthy, but I was like, it's probably about the same as Snickers bar, but it was really good.
I like a good tasting protein.
Yeah, that's
bar.
the problem. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. What is the? Oh gosh, I can't even think of the name of it right now because I'm on the spot. But I think it's called the Best Protein Bar. Maybe it's the one that you have to keep refrigerated. It tastes just like chocolate chip cookie dough.
Oh, really? Okay.
I mean, just like chocolate chip cookie dough. I have to look that up now.
Now, hold on. When I say my favorite, I'm not promoting that because some of those are pretty like, I'm like, I really did like those, but I'm not saying that that's the best one.
Okay, favorite vitamin. If there was one vitamin, you had to pick.
You know what's funny? I always like those multi-min mega vitamins from GNC. I always felt like that covered.
Those are old school. There's nothing wrong with old school.
They covered all bases, you know what I mean? So I always thought that was like a mega vitamin that kind of covered everything. I felt like that was good.
Favorite workout circuit. Oh, and there's my alarm. Hold on 1 second. It's probably to pick up a child or something. Hold on. Favorite workout circuit. And when you walk in a gym and you're like, that's it. This is what I'm doing. What is it?
When I walk into a gym, probably I have to do something that people don't like to do, which is legs. So I like squatting. So it'd be something like a squat with a lunge and then some kind of probably box jump or something. More like CrossFit-ish type workout. So yeah, it'd be legs because nobody likes to do that.
Okay. That's true. No one likes leg day, but you like the results of leg day. Exactly. Favorite health food?
Favorite health food?
She's rolling her eyes over there. It's like,
bad.
I can't
like
wait.
Maybe I'm supposed to have
can't wait to see what the answer is here. Yeah.
I mean, I guess when it comes to health, like it goes back to like, I like chicken. So like any kind of chicken with broccoli mix, that kind of stuff, those kind of bowls, you know.
My husband's too. He loves him some chicken.
I feel like that's the safest bet. I've never met anybody that's doing health stuff and goes, chicken's bad. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I think you can always go with chicken.
Favorite junk food? I love asking a doctor that. What's your favorite junk food?
I mean, you know what? It's really funny. I'm gonna have to go with donuts.
Okay, yeah, you can't.
I think, and it's one of those like I'll get a random
TNT
like
donuts.
That TNT from Midland, right?
Yes,
go,
yes.
Like it's not. It's got to be TNT.
It does.
But like when I get out of town, I like Krispy Kreme.
Oh yeah.
Gosh, they like So and I'm like the
Wait,
random
and
guy.
watching it fall off that glaze, the glazed donut, watching all the sugar fall. You're just like, just give me one.
Just give it to me
just
warm.
Give it to me.
Just,
yeah, exactly.
They had one in Lubbock when I was there. I was like, oh man, it's so good. So that would be my junk food.
Okay, we're running out of time. Favorite book?
Man, there's a lot of those.
I know. There's so many good books to choose from.
There's a lot. I'm not sure on that one.
Okay.
There's a couple that I'm not sure on that one.
Okay, we'll come back to favorite podcast besides the Krista Escamilla Show.
I got to go with Joe Rogan.
Oh, Joe Rogan's good. Yeah, can't beat
some
Joe.
Pretty good guys on.
Okay, thanks for playing favorite things. That was fun. Isn't that fun? I like doing the fast questions.
Right.
Get that spontaneous answer. We always ask at the end of our show two things. First of all, is there anything you wanted to talk about that we haven't mentioned? It can be about anything, about your journey, about your business, any business tips, anything that you want to share before we go.
I do want to share that just in the when it comes to physical therapy and the things that I've been blessed to do with work with people, is a huge part that I really like to touch on is that the journey that I get to walk on people with. That's just really huge. I want to talk about that because it's just so positive. Like when people get injuries or surgeries, I see a lot of people with knee replacements, and so that's common to me. Like but but they're not another knee patient because to them, they've never had some of that stuff
Right.
happen. So they really look to me to they see the doctor once or twice, post-op, but I'm the one that sees them 2 to 3 times a week and, 45 minutes to an hour a day.
You see the progress.
And I see the progress, and I get to encourage them through things. I get to tell them where they're supposed to be, because a lot of people are like, are we good? Like, I'm like, yeah, you're going good.
Yeah.
Or if you're not, we need to work on this. They don't know. So I get to do this journey with people, and I think it's so cool that I get to do that, the opportunity to do that. And I've made some really awesome relationships and friendships with people because I've helped them out of a time in their life that was it was really hard for them.
Right.
And I might not, and that's kind of some of the gratitude stuff. I'm like, I'm so glad that God has blessed me with this opportunity that people ask me and want my opinion. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, that's great.
Right.
Like, that anybody would even want to know what I think or how to help them. So I think that's a really cool part about what I get to do, and even more so now in my own, setting.
Yeah, because life's about helping people.
Yeah,
it
so
is.
that's really cool. So I wanted to make sure I got to put that, because I'm totally grateful for what I get to do.
Well, great job using your gifts and helping others. I think that is a beautiful thing. And when you find that in life, it seems like everything always works together.
Sure.
You know when you're on the right path. And so you are on the right path, Dr. Furtado. Good job. Finally, we always ask, is there any nonprofit organization that we always make a donation at the end of our show on behalf of the Krista Escamilla Show. Is there any nonprofit you would like us to make the donation to?
Actually, interestingly enough, I won't get into it too much. I'm part of a small church called Advanced Church.
Okay.
Dustin Pierce left from Stonegate a couple years ago, and we started this. And you had it, and you had Borowski.
Yes, Carl
right?
Borowski.
Yeah, he's a member of our church. And,
Okay.
And if you could donate to that, that'd be great. What he does is awesome.
Okay.
With his rope youth, or
Yes.
any of those kind of things. I saw that he had been on here, and he goes to our church, and he just does stuff for the community. He's awesome. He's got a great heart. So
Absolutely.
that'd be great. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. We will do that. Well, thank you so much for sharing your time today and your gifts and your tips and on how we can all be healthier and your favorite protein shake. So thanks for sharing all those things. If you would like more information, where can everyone find you at Cultivate?
We are in 2606 Loma Drive, next to Midland Meat Market. You can find us on cultivatept.com.
All right. Fantastic. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate you, and best of luck, continued success with your business and with helping us move more, because that's the goal. We got to keep on moving, keeping on. And thank you for joining us today. We also want to thank our sponsors, Rig ID Workwear, Midland Cap Company, and also joincapclub.com. Go check it out, especially if you need good hats. You will want to get those hats. I think that's it. In the meantime, remember, of course, please share this, and we appreciate all the shares that you've already given us and the reviews. They're so nice. We're on all the podcast platforms and YouTube, so share your favorite, and just keep coming back. We want to just make you smile, hopefully, and also help you live your best life. That's the goal. And don't forget my mottos: dream big. It's right there. See, the sign came with us in the new building. Dream big, believe in yourself, and never give up. You make it a great day.